We wonder why our culture's depressed when depressed people get all the love and attention. Isn't that interesting? It's hard to figure this one out, isn't it? So what I want you to do is you got to make a choice. You can either bow your head and fit in, because if you stand out, then there are going to be a few people that are going to take shots at you, and that comes with the territory. So you either get to live with your head bowed or live with your head high and take a few hits and enjoy your life like most people never will. But you got to choose, because you can't live in between. There is no in between. You either step up or you step down. We all have a fear we're insignificant and unloved, or will be. So that's all that's happening for you. It's called being a human. It just shows up in a context because you can pick a profession where on a regular basis you need to make requests of people, and lots of times they're going to say no, and their no becomes for him rejection, failure. Worthless is the word he would never say that he really felt. He doesn't want to say worthless because that scares the hell out of him. So he says not successful. Failure, not successful. He'll never get to worthless because that's a scary word to say. No one wants to say they feel worthless, but that's what everybody's afraid of feeling. Now, search your own heart, your own experience, and see if that's true. And that's probably not true for you, but how many have seen other people have a fear of being worthless or not being loved or not success? Other people. How many have seen that? Of course, those other people have those feelings. So maybe you do too at times. Now, I know you don't feel that way when you're competent and you're in charge and you're controlled and everything's going your way. That's your plan, that you do all those things. Some people work all the time so they can feel that because they have control. They're with their kids and they feel incompetent, so they go back and work more. Because they don't know how to deal with this thing. The kid wants to watch the Disney show for the 5,000th time. Now they don't know how to deal with that. So human beings have these common fears. Now what do? Well, here's the truth. The fear will never leave you completely. That's the truth. So when you know something's true, it's best to hug the monster instead of fear the monster. Only way to deal with fear that I found in my life is a couple ways. One of those ways is to turn it on itself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I'm afraid of that, I got to be more afraid of what I'm going to miss out on, missing out on my mission, missing out on who I'm supposed to be. In other words, if you're not getting rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you. It's that simple. You know, fear is at pandemic levels. Fear is, viral today. And as you know, when someone gets in a fearful place for whatever reason, whether it's something real or not, it has a hormonal response. All of a sudden, the heart starts racing. You start to breathe shallow. Everything narrows down your focus. And what happens is we go into survival. And we all have a survival brain because we all have a 2 million-year-old brain. And that brain's always looking for what's wrong. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that tap into that today.
I was a millionaire by age 31. I'm broke by age 33. Couple of million, 2.5 million, all swept away. Making foolish decisions. That first money, it's really hard to keep. I'm just a young guy, 31, 32 years old. But sure enough, I fell for some of the temptations. Somebody's going to be parted with their money before long when they say, like I did, how many colors does it come in, right? I'll buy them all. That kind of sort of recklessness. And then making some unwise business decisions. Company wanted to borrow some money, $250,000. The bank said, well, if Mr. Rohn will sign personally, we'll let you have the money. And I knew they could pay it back, so I signed, so I'm the hero. They pay it all back. I leave, go away. I find out a little bit later that the company got in financial trouble, went back and borrowed this $250,000 again. And I said, well, I hope they don't call me because this time I won't sign. I signed the first note. It was all paid back, but I knew they weren't going to make it this time. And they never called. However, sure enough, within a year, this company goes belly up. And I get a letter from the bank saying, dear Mr. Rohn, we have here your guarantee that if the company can't perform, you will. On this $250,000, please send us your check. And I said, hey, there's been some mistake here. I signed the first note, but nobody ever called me. I never signed the second note. What I didn't know that I had originally signed was a continuing guarantee. Now I know what the word continuum means. I know how much it costs per letter. But anyway, that and a few other experiences, and some of my newfound wealth was on paper, and that disappeared. So sure enough, from poor to rich and from rich back to poor, what do you do now? What occurred to me was that even though my money was gone, I still had the skills. And the skills proved to be more valuable than the money. So I just simply went back to work, went back to the street. Back using the formula I had used in the first place to do well and made many times more what I did the first time. But I think that's the key. You just have to go back to work. And part of it was I was willing to readjust my lifestyle. The fancy cars had to go, the homes and all that stuff had to go. And you go back to a modest apartment and a modest place and pull everything down to start over rather than try and keep living up here when you should have to start over back to the street or whatever you have to do. And just put it together again. No different than the farmer who plants in the spring and it's all gone when the hailstorm is finished. He goes back in the spring and says, let's try it one more time. I can't imagine 2 years in a row. Once in a while, maybe there would be 2 years in a row when you get wiped out, but not that often. So you try it again. And probably from the experience, if you treat it right and keep the right attitude, you'll be stronger than you were the first time around or the second time around. But everything comes down to attitude and philosophy. When I first started working on my fortune as well as my living, my mentor said it depends on your attitude. If you say, I'm working a little extra time to pay some bills, that'd be one thing. But if you said, I'm working a little extra time to start my fortune, see, that makes getting out of bed totally different. To get up to pay some extra bills is one thing. To get up to lay the foundation for your fortune, see, is a whole different attitude and mindset and philosophy. So if you have the right attitude, no matter what's happened, if you just readjust your attitude and your philosophy and a whole new mindset and start again.
These people aren't living life. They're not truly experiencing life. What do you really want to do? Well, I don't like this, but I guess I'll go ahead on and do it. No! The life is too short for that. Too short and unpredictable, moseying through. Not trying to disturb anything, not trying to shake anything up, not trying to make any waves. You see, there are some people who come through the universe and their level of contribution and the level of energy they manifest is so small, so inconspicuous that when they go, you won't even know they left. I mean, there are people who die on jobs and you say, hey, where's John? Oh, John been dead 6 months. You're kidding? No. Is that right? Yeah. I didn't know. Why did somebody say, well, I guess we didn't miss him. But there's some people, because of their personality, because of their contribution, because of the investment of their time and their energy and the impact they have there, that when they go, everybody will miss them. So when Mother Teresa checks out, everybody will know. When Rosa Parks, everybody will know. Nelson Mandela, everybody will know. Why? Because of their contribution. See, but there's some people, because their contribution is so small, no one will care. So I'm saying, before you are boxed and buried, decide that you're going to box and bury your fears. Decide that you're going to begin to live life on a new level, seeking out new horizons, that you're going to find more love and more joy and more ways to give more to life. God said something, I love this. He says, everything a man does for himself, guess what? He takes with him. But everything he does for others, he leaves behind. So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dream? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. That's when people go out and strike out on their dreams. That's when people get out of relationships where they're dying together rather than growing together. That's when they leave jobs. So where are you going? Away from here.
So our basketball team, I played 8th grade basketball, and I was probably a 5'1" white dude. So I had NBA written all over me back in the day, right? And my dad wanted me to get ready for the season. My dad liked to drink back in the day. Big time drinker. He's been sober a long time now, but my dad could drink. So my dad said, hey, 8th grade's coming up. You're playing some basketball because you sucked at football. We don't know where this baseball thing's going. You're playing basketball. I'm like, Dad, I'm not sure genetically, DNA-wise, I'm completely qualified to play basketball long term, but we'll do it. So my dad set a hoop up in the backyard. Except when he set the hoop up, and I practiced every day, I'm telling you, every day the summer going into 8th grade, except my dad had some drinks, like a lot of drinks the day that he set the hoop up. And he set it up a foot short, except I never knew that. So I just kept practicing and practicing and practicing on a hoop that was a foot lower than it was supposed to be. So I got a shot you can't even believe from like 9.5 foot hoops, right? So basketball starts, tryouts, only 8 guys try out, so I make the team. But I'm the 8th player. I'm 8. By like 80 spots, I'm 8th, right? If we could have had the ladies play on the team, I'd have not made the team. So long story short, I don't play the first 6 games. I averaged for the season 0 points and 0 rebounds. Let me explain to you why I averaged 0. I did not score a basket the entire season in 8th grade. We're in the championship game against Lorbeer High School. Strep throat runs through our team. That night, I'm so excited because I get to go to my first baseball camp where there's going to be my mom and dad scrimped and saved, and we're going to send me to a baseball camp. First baseball camp in my life. That was my love. That was my sport. And my dad had saved, so all I wanted to do was go to baseball camp. And I went to school that day because I knew if I didn't go to school, my dad wouldn't let me go to baseball camp. And I also that day, I was so excited about it. I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but I was worried about playing baseball. Don't worry about this image. But I was worried that I didn't know how to put my jock strap on correctly. So I went to school that day because baseball camp, my dad wasn't going to make it home from work. So I had my dad show me how to put the jock. So I have no underwear on. I'm wearing a literal jock strap like our chaps with your butt cheeks hanging out the back. If you ladies don't know what I'm talking about, okay? So it's like not a pretty thing. I wore that under my school clothes that day because of the baseball camp. Anyway, 6th period comes along. It's PE. I don't go to PE because I got strep throat. And my dad calls the school. He says, hey, your mom's telling me you're skipping a basketball game. It's the championship. I'm like, well, Dad, I got strep throat. He goes, you don't get to go to baseball camp. You don't go to the damn finals of the basketball game. The best ability is availability. Can you picture my dad? Right? I go, okay, Dad, I'll go. The other 2 guys who are on the team don't go because they got strep. So now there's 5 dudes on the team. Guess who has to play in the championship game? Big guy right here. I put my sweats on. We drive to Lorbeer High School. Packed house. Our school, their school, cheerleaders, the band. I haven't scored all year. I never even really play. Everybody takes off their jumpsuits. I take off my jumpsuit, run out, get into the layup line. I'm in the layup line. It's a little chilly, but I'm still in the layup line. I run in the layup line. I run through, I get my first pass. Boom, brick the first layup. I'm running by, I'm hearing everybody laughing. And then my guys are like, oh my God, Eddie! And I'm like, what's up? And I look down and I have my shirt on my children, my shirt on and my jock strap and tennis shoes and socks. That's what I'm wearing. In the layup line. Dead true story. Picture that. Shoes, socks, jock strap, tank top. Brick the first layup. And it was like, what? And I can hear the whole, wow! Everyone's, look at this guy! Oh my God! And so I literally, Coach Lindsay, Ed Lindsay, get over here. And we run. And the whole team makes a circle around me. They're like, Find him some shorts. Who's got some shorts? They find some shorts in the bag, and I put the damn shorts on. Can you imagine the terror of a little boy? The whole school saw it. The whole Chaparral Cougar school saw my ass in a jockstrap. So I went the whole game, scored 0 points. I got fouled with 2 seconds left in the game. We're down by 1. I got 2 free throws. I can't get my damn mind off the jockstrap horror film that took place about an hour ago. So on top of the jockstrap, I airball the first free throw, and I brick the second one, and we lose the junior high championship on top of it. It was a bad day, man. It was a bad day, right? It's like something you would dream about that would literally actually never happen. To this day, you guys, I have nightmares when I'm at the gym. I always check. I always look down. I swear to you. Middle of workouts, I'm like, okay, all right, got it. I'm always afraid. Why do I tell you that story? Because I'm about to tell you something that's going to change your life. That night I went to baseball camp. The worst day of my life became one of the best days of my life. People ask me all the time, how do you think you became sort of a relatively confident guy with this great upbringing you had? Because I had a strong dad. And every time in my life that's come along, when there's a mentor that showed up, someone better than me that's ahead, God put him in my life and I took advantage of it. Whether that was Rich Thawley or Tony Robbins or various other people in my life. And this one man altered the direction of my life. I'm going to tell you about it. I went to baseball camp that night. And it was called Angel Country Baseball Camp. And I used to bat like this, with the bat really flat, like this, kind of just like this. Pitch would come in, boom, the bat was flat. And the reason I did that is my hero for the Angels is a guy named Rod Carew. How many of you know who Rod Carew is? You'll know in a minute if you don't. Rod Carew is a Hall of Fame baseball player. Played the wrong video. Hall of Fame baseball player, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And I'm in the cage, I'm hitting like this. And behind me, I hear a man say, who's the little lefty? Who's the little lefty? And they go, oh, that's little Eddie. And I hear him talking, and I hit another one. Line drive up the middle. Line drive up the middle. Now, all I'm thinking about is what had happened to me that day. I'm still wearing the same jock strap, by the way. Okay? Line drive up the middle. Just one of those dream moments, right? And the guy goes, I like this kid's swing. And I look, and they turn to the batting cage, and guess who's standing there? Rod Carew, number 29. And he goes, hey, kid, where'd you learn to hit like that? I said, oh, my God. I said, I learned by watching you. He goes, let's hit a few more. And he stood, the great Rod Carew, stood right there. He goes, let's hit a few more. He goes, I like your swing. He goes, flatten the bat out a little bit. Spread your right foot out. Open your toe. I'm going, that's Rod Carew. And he goes, you're good. You're really good. I think you could be a great player someday. And he didn't stop at that. He said, in fact, would you like me to work with you? I went, yes. He goes, well, here's what I do. When I'm in town on Tuesday nights, they come over to my cages and I work with about 5-6 guys just like you. I'd love to work with you. Can you be there next Tuesday? Yes, sir. I could be there. And for the next 5 years of my life, my baseball mentor, my life mentor became Rod Carew. And I'd sit in the batting cage with Rod. I'd sit in the cage with Rod, and he'd tell me exactly what to do. But on that, he goes, you're outworking everybody, buddy. You're going to do something great someday. With your work ethic, you're going to do something great. You're going to be a great college player. Every Tuesday he was in town, every Tuesday for years. And this man took this shy boy who had just had that experience in baseball over the next 5 years, constantly loved on me, constantly told me how great I was, constantly told me he believed it. And because of what a powerful example he was, when you have one of the 5 greatest hitters in the history of baseball tell you you're great, you believe it. And he didn't just make it about baseball, he made it about life and what a good boy I was, and how I got good grades and I treated my parents well. And when I found out about Rod, is he's one of these special souls that I was one of thousands and thousands of children that he took an interest in, which is why when I graduated college, my first job was at a group home working with kids. I wanted to be just like Rod when my baseball career ended. He poured belief into me, confidence. I started to walk different, think different. I thought I was special. The power of mentors in your life who love you and believe in you. And Rod did this over and over and over again. And then many years after I knew Rod, I'm going to Elmo, his little daughter. This is how you sow seeds in your life. See, all these calls you're making, all the phone calls, all the contacts, they don't feel like it's paying off right now, but you're planting seeds like in the parable of the sower. The wind's going to get a few, the rain's going to get a few, the birds are going to get a few, but eventually there's a harvest in a way that you can't even imagine. And Rod, for years, in addition to being this great player, was a better man, and he sowed seeds into kids over and over and over. A wonderful soul. He's from Panama. He wasn't even born here. He's a beautiful man. And then many years after I knew them, his little girl, Michelle, I became very close with. Michelle was a little 5-year-old little girl that used to sit behind the cage with her mama and watch us every week. And when Michelle turned 16, she got leukemia. And she lost her battle with leukemia. when she was 16. At the time, it was a national story. This is April 18th, 1996. You're about to get blown away. April 18th, 1996, my great mentor, the man who believed in me, that changed, how's a little dude like me end up playing baseball at that level? Because of that belief. How did I do well in business? Because right after Rod Carew came Rich Thawley and Tony Robbins, these people who believed in me. And so it says, Michelle Carew, the daughter of Baseball Hall of Famer Rod Carew, who waged a 7-year battle with leukemia that sparked international outpouring of support and a surge in pool, listen, of potential donors, died Wednesday morning. She was 18. Their family was destroyed. I want you to watch Rod's quote when it happened. This is 1996. I can't make this up. Although we have lost Michelle, we can take solace in the fact because of her, many lives have already been saved by the increase in marrow transplants performed in the week subsequent to our appeal because of donors. The usually taciturn Carew had pleaded for people across the country, this is in 1996, to sign up as potential donors. Donors. Remember that word. Donors. When his daughter passes away, he turned it into a victory. Worst day of his life became the best day of his life. Donors. Sowing seeds. Doesn't know when you're going to harvest it. He saw how few African Americans and other minorities were registered for the National Donor Program. Within a few weeks, he began a public awareness campaign after her death. More than 70,000 calls for donors were generated. 2 million increase in donors were made across the country. That's absolutely awesome, said Carew. It's the initiative we've been waiting for. And then it shows you that the hospital's personnel sobbed and exchanged hugs during the news conference. He took the news conference of her death and turned it into a donor drive. After that, he started a foundation called the 29 Foundation, after his baseball number.
Do my job and handle my business. But I got that from back when I was staying out late at night. My ability to talk to large groups of people who I do not know come from me having to get out of so many lies I had got myself into that I became comfortable doing that business. So coming out here telling the truth, pretty easy. The fact that I could fight you at the drop of a dime back then comes in handy because now I'm a Christian, but there's limits to it. So I don't, look, it's only so much I can take. Then after that, you're going to get off of me. It comes in handy because I'm busy. I don't have time for everybody. People stop me all the time. Steve, I need a picture. I need an autograph. Well, I'm going somewhere. All I want is a picture. I can't stop every time somebody want a picture. How would you like if everywhere you went, somebody stopped you and wanted a picture? How many picture requests I get a day? I can't think of a day somebody ain't asked me for a picture, asked me for something. How would you like it if you was just going somewhere and now y'all got video cameras. Y'all just pull them out and here they go. Somebody films me every day, and I'm not even aware. I just look over there, and my boy go, man, step behind me. She over there filming. I get that every day. How would you like that? So, being a former fighter, I was in the store the other day. Probably, let me see if I can tell this. Okay, I got off the plane. I came to Dallas yesterday. I get up and I'm in a stop in a store. We come from the airport. I got to get some water. I go in the store. This brother come up to me. He ain't got hardly all his teeth. He come up to me. He little muscular dude. He come up, Steve Harvey, what's up? So I say, hey man, how you doing? You ain't got no bodyguard? I'm 6'2", I weigh 235. Now, I ain't no bad man, but I used to box. So now, you ain't got all your teeth, so you ain't real healthy. You have a little alcoholic aroma to you. I don't drink, so I figure we good. However this gonna be good. But it's because of what I was that God has changed. Now, it used to be, I just turn around and start swinging, it'd be on and cracking. But now God changed that. But see, what it caused me to realize was I was who I was, but I am who I am, and I'm cool with both of them.
So you've got to be willing to stay focused, to be creative, to be relentless, because things are going to happen to you when you're working on your dream, when you get on track. I remember when I first got involved in speaking, one of the main things that speakers like to do is speak to a certain association that they have over 10,000 of their sales reps that come to this convention. And I was relentless. I kept saying, it's possible. It's possible. See, what I wanted to let you know and set you up for, because you say it's possible, don't mean that you're not going to have any problems. that Murphy's lawyer gonna come and slap you side the head. Oh, Murphy gonna come visit you. He's waiting for some of y'all out in the parking lot. Oh, you say it's possible. Okay, it's possible. You better get up. Well, I was working. I kept saying it's possible. They got other speakers on this program. I can be on that program too. I kept selling myself. I got all fired up. And I was calling them every day. And the lady finally said, Mr. Brown, I tell you what, we want you to come in and talk to our sales executives. You got the kind of fire and guts that they want that will motivate them. And let me tell you something else. We want you to bring your motivational tape. You're going to need at least $50,000 worth of tapes. I said, is that right? Yes, because they want to keep that drive alive. I said, all right. I called the guy to duplicate my tapes. I said, Don, how you doing? This is Les. Let me tell you, I got a major speaking engagement. I said, man, it's a speaker's dream. I need over $50,000 worth of product. He said, Les, you don't have that kind of credit. I said, I know, but Don, I can sell that. Just right after speaking engagement, I'll give you your money in 4 days. He said, are you sure, Les? I said, yes, man, I got a major speaking engagement, and they told me to do it. He said, man, that's a big order. Let me talk with the lady with you. I said, hold on just a minute, man. Call the lady back. Hello, Evelyn, how you doing? This is Les Brown. I got Don on the phone. What did you say? Do I have the speaking engagement? Yes, you do. And what else you suggest? Les, our people, they buy a lot of tapes. Your tapes are very popular among them. I'm saying bring at least $50,000 worth of tapes, Les. You'll sell everything you got and more. I said, did you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, now, if anybody else has to make a decision, are you the final person? She said, I'm the final person. I will send you the contract. I want you. I said, you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, oh, ye of little faith. I said, duplicate the tapes, man. Hung the phone up. Well, he duplicated the tapes. 1 week came by. I'm checking the mail every day. No contract. I said, come on, Murphy, don't start nothing. Come on, man, give me a break. Come on, you know, stay fair. Come on, man. Give your boy a break. Come on. I talked to myself, you know. I didn't want to call him right then. 2 weeks passed by. Murphy said, don't you think you ought to call him? I said, okay. I called. I said, hello, this is Les Brown calling. How you doing, Les? I said, fine. I said, Evelyn hasn't sent my contract out yet. Any additional information you need? So, Les, you haven't heard? I said, no. I said, Evelyn died. I said, she died? I said, did she say anything about me? When I got home, I was so wiped out. And Murphy was in the house waiting on me. Murphy said, is it possible you want to listen to some of your tapes?
The spiritual part. I'm an amateur on the spiritual side. I do happen to believe that human beings are more than just an advanced life form, an advanced species of the animal kingdom. I do believe humans are a special creation. That's just my personal belief, and I don't ask you to buy it. But here's what I do ask you to buy. If you do believe in spirituality in any manner, here's my best advice. Study it and practice it. Do not neglect your values. Do not neglect your virtue. If you do believe in spirituality, my advice is study it and practice it. Don't let it go unstudied. Don't let it go unnourished. If you do believe, that's my best advice on the spiritual. Now here's the third part, the mental side. Part of this personal development challenge is to develop mentally. Learn, study, grow, change. It's what schooling is all about. And the human development takes time, incredible amounts of time. That's why we've taken the time for this seminar. It just takes time. Some things you can't cover in a 20-minute speech. You can't cover in a little 5-minute talk. It takes time. For humans, it seem like more time than any other life form, human being. The little wildebeest in Africa. Guess how much time it's got as soon as it's born to be able to run with the pack so it doesn't get eaten by the lions. Guess how much time it's got? A few minutes. As soon as the little wildebeest is born, tries to stand up, falls down. Its mother nudges it, gets stand back up, falls back down. Finally, on little shaky legs, it tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. She moves away, so it can't nurse. Why? You can't nurse now. You got to develop some strength now. The lions. Falls down, gets back up, tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. No, you got to get these legs strong. How much time have we got? Not much time. Mama wildebeest says, not much time. Not hours, not days, minutes. Wow. But the human baby, wow. After 16 years, we're not sure. Unbelievable amount of time it takes. So it does take time for personal development. It does take time for spiritual development, physical development. But here's also what takes time, and that's your mental development. Feeding the mind, nourishing the mind. Some people read so little, they got rickets of the mind. They couldn't give you a good, strong argument as to their own personal belief. Here's one of the challenges we've got as parents, and that is to get our kids ready to debate the major life issues of the 90s. They've got to get ready to debate. We've spent this last couple of decades debating communism,
Communism taught capital belongs in the hands of the state. We've been teaching, no, capital belongs in the hands of the people. Communism taught people are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital. You've got to take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-knowing, all-wise state. And let the state run everything and let the people meekly show up for their work assignment. All glory to the state, communism taught. Kid says, well, is that right? No, all glory to the people. Let the state be the servant of the people, not the people be the servant. Hey, I'm telling you, you got to be able to pick up those ideologies. You got to be able to pick up the philosophy. And here's the next part. You got to be able to defend it. If you can't defend your virtues and if you can't defend your values, I'm telling you, even in the 90s, you'll fall prey to philosophies that are not in your best interest. And we've got to help our teenagers, we've got to help our kids especially to be able to debate the major life issues, the political issues and the social issues and the religious issues and the spiritual issues and the nutritional issues and the economic issues and all of the rest of the issues that are valuable for us to build the kind of equities we want. You got to get yourself ready.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? I heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experience that we've had. One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself, or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying I like. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time.
Let me show you this. We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here, we work over here, we go get our coffee over here, we go to this park over here, we usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. They ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary is cool, Ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful, ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you're willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't even 24 hours in a day. You cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was asleep. The Bible says, he who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. I'm gonna ask you one question, I'm gonna go. How many of you in here know somebody who loves to sleep? Who knows somebody that loves to sleep? Let me ask you something. Ain't they Pope?
You don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. So yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. The next thing that is important is that expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Repeat after me, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Shake somebody's hand on your right or left and say, I'm unstoppable. Make those kind of declarations to yourself. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. And if I get knocked down, I'm going to be like Leo Pascal. You said you're going to have some low moments in life, but when you do, you will have high lows. When you work on yourself. What are some of those things that you can do during this period of time? Go for walks. Do some things for you. Just go for a stroll so you can engage in some reflective thinking on life, on yourself, looking and enjoying the universe, smelling the roses along the way.
Listen to upbeat music, music that inspires you. I have oldie but goodies. I have strategies that I engage in to recharge my batteries. I'm preparing for that because I know things are going to happen that I cannot anticipate. A very good friend of mine died the other day. I had a program for myself. I have books that I read that inspire me, tapes that I listen to that fire me up. Because you're going to have sometimes low moments when you won't want to get out of bed. You just want to stay there. At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. The other thing is, take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. You're in the process of reinventing your life. Write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination.